Phobos is the personification of fear in Greek mythology. He is the offspring of Aphrodite and Ares. Phobos was known for accompanying Ares into battle, along with the ancient war goddess Enyo, the name meaning warlike, and the goddess of discord and strife, Eris. Both are sisters of Ares, together with Phobos' twin brother, Deimos, meaning terror. Eros, the god of love, is also his brother. So what we have here is fear, terror, love, and warlike strife. But in relation to Eros, the Cupid, he is always in the darkness. Love is blind. In classical Greek mythology, Phobos is more of a personification of the fear brought on by war. Timor or Timorus is his Roman equivalent. The poet Ovid uses the name Phobos, where Phobos is the original charioteer. In Roman mythology, he has also been referred to as Pavor. The word is from paveo, meaning to tremble or quake with fear. I find a different meaning, but it is still relative. Pa-vor, pa, meaning to cleave, and vor means they. So pavor can mean they cleave. It is the Indo-European root word, pavor. This would be the pavor of God. For example, the fallen one splits asunder the mother goddess. She is cleft open, which is actually quite fitting, because those who follow the fallen one are by definition multiplied imitations of the fallen one, as they continue in the same footsteps. Fear, terror, and warlike strife, they continue to cleave. Phobos, as the son of Aphrodite and Ares, may be seen in Hesiod's Theogony. Also Cytherea, Aphrodite, bare to Ares the shield piercer, Phobos. From here, we can see a purpose lurking in the background. The myths and legends do have many elements to them, but what I cannot ignore are the actions of men, reforming the world and its ways to serve themselves, or worse yet, to feed something much darker, something they do not even understand themselves. And here we have it. Those who worshipped Phobos often made bloody sacrifices in his name. They continue to cleave. It is worth noting that the 7 gods are those old gods that were sacrificed to. So any ritual of this type is actually feeding them, or it. Blood on the ground would be feeding the red god. I will guarantee that most, if not all, of these sites are on red clay earth, or on the bones of the comet from which the mounds are made. The 7 are found under many disguises, contained and preserved underneath the written word. For example, the 7 against Thebes by Aeschylus. The 7 warriors slaughter a bull over a black shield, and then, touching the bull's gore with their hands, they swore an oath, by Phobos, who delights in blood. If you have been following my work, you will see that this is very similar to Enkidu and Gilgamesh in displaying their anger towards Ishtar by slaughtering the great bull of heaven. Enkidu curses Ishtar while pulling the entrails out of the bull. This appears to be a reformed variant, doesn't it? They are sent by Utu Shamash, who here would align with Phobos. In relation to the 7, their names vary, but their number is invariable. The 7 against Thebes are the 7 preserved and reformed in story. Well, we are dealing with the darkness, and it just seems to get a little darker. Ares' son beheaded strangers who came along in order to build a temple to Phobos from their skulls. The Bone Chapel in Rome and Romania spring to mind. The warriors and heroes who worshipped Phobos, such as Heracles and Agamemnon, carried shields with depictions of Phobos on them. Because Aphrodite was their mother, Phobos and Deimos were gods of the fear of loss. Here, I remind you that in Babylon, the Floodstorm weapon was sent forth by Marduk, Belos Bel Merodach, who is Hercules in the Greek myth. The comet or fallen one came from that same constellation, so what we are possibly seeing is an account of the comet used as a psychological weapon to install fear. The 7 are said to feed on fear. The Marduk myth and the 7 against Thebes may also be a reinvention, which I would describe as overlayers to the original event. This can be understood as passing the torch, continuing the works of the bringer of fire, or the eternal lamp. The 7 appear to be opportunists of this great event. They are something else, from somewhere else, something that uses thought as permission to be here. Whether positive or negative, it is all about the hearts and minds of the people. Hesiod depicts Phobos on the shield of Heracles as staring backwards with eyes that glowed with fire. His mouth was full of teeth in a white row, fearful and daunting. And again later, during a war scene, as being eager to plunge amidst the fighting men. Phobos is often depicted as having a lion's or a lion-like head. This would be the lion-headed god. It would appear that my earlier words are now confirmed. This is a reformation, a personification of the Floodstorm weapon. The word weapon can also mean sword. The Floodstorm weapon is the flaming sword. According to Plutarch, Alexander the Great offered sacrifices to Phobos on the eve of the Battle of Gaugamela, in all probability asking for Darius to be filled with fear on the eve of the Battle of Gaugamela. This was believed by Mary Renaud to be part of Alexander's psychological warfare campaign against Darius III. Darius fled from the field of Gaugamela, making Alexander's praying to Phobos seem successful as a tactic. Phobos was depicted on the chest of Cypselsus, on the shield of Agamemnon. The word phobia derives from Phobos, meaning fear. The two brothers, Deimos and Phobos, were particularly worshipped in the city-state of Sparta, as they were the sons of Ares, the god of war. Spartan soldiers would idolize Phobos because he symbolized discipline and consistency of the armed forces. Because Phobos and Deimos were key mythological characters of war, individuals would conduct sacrifices to their name on the battlefields and other places where war had taken place. There are many places within the Iliad where Homer mentions the presence of Phobos and Deimos. Some of them are the shield of Agamemnon, and he took up the man enclosing elaborate stark shield, a thing of splendor. That would be the Stark Shield from the Avengers. Their names vary, but their number never changes. The Stark Shield is a thing of splendor. There were 10 circles of bronze upon it, and set about it were 20 knobs of tin, pale shining, and in the very center another knob of dark cobalt. This may be a tektite meteorite, as I have just found a replication on the breastplate of Tutankhamun. And circled within the midst of it all was the blank-eyed face of the Gorgo, the Gorgon, with her stare of horror, and Deimos, terror, was inscribed upon it, and Phobos, fear. This is also relative to the comet that fell during the Eocene period. The first life that formed after the fall of the comet was the serpents. So he, Ares, spoke and ordered Deimos and Phobos to harness his horses, and himself got into his shining armor. Recently, we have been looking into Ion, Eros, and Plato's myth of Now I may have found that name in the works of Damascus, in his Doubts and Solutions of the First Principles, in which he states that after Anos, Anu, comes Ilanos, El-Ilah, or Bel, the Lord par excellence, and Eos, the god of Eridu. Of Eos and Dauk, the Babylonian Ar and Damkina, was born Belos Merodach, he that wields the Floodstorm weapon. So here we find that Ea is Ae and Eos, the same forwards as back. This would be the Ae in Phaethon, but it also presents a Germanic connection to the Aesir gods. Please hit that notification bell to ensure that you're notified of each upload. Share, like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel for more ancient mystery.